RBA staff reject a 10.5% pay rise. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. And no, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It feels like I'm joking. It really does. Grab your Stein. Let's look at this article about the RBA staff rejecting over a 10% pay rise because it doesn't address cost of living. We are officially living in clown world, aren't we? It's just awesome. You just have to laugh now. That's the only way I get through it all. Okay, you know, with all the negative news, particularly as a YouTuber, you get exposed to a lot. You just have to laugh and realize that's just how things are. A 10% pay rise isn't enough for these guys. Oh boy, shit. Oh, so Reserve Bank staff reject a 10.5% pay rise offer and say it doesn't address a cost of living. Well, it probably doesn't, but, that's life. That's life. So, staff at the Reserve Bank of Australia have rejected a 10.5% pay offer from management, saying it fails to deal with the rising cost of living. Do they still get, like, super awesome home loans, discounted home loans at the RBA? Maybe that should be taken into account, or do only the senior staff get that? Oh, I mean, you just got to find one way or another to work for government or government organisations. It feels like that's where it's heading, doesn't it? It really does. The RBA had offered the pay increase over 3 years to junior and mid-level staff. Under the proposal, staff would get a 4% pay rise at the start of the new agreement, 3.5% from September 2024, and 3% from September 2025. So this tells you that they're not going to keep inflation under control. This is their job. Their job is to manage inflation. And they're thinking, okay, well, we're not going to 4% at the start of the new agreement. No, that's not enough. 3.5%, 3%. Isn't their target 2%? Just remind me in the comments, everyone. So the ballot closed this week and 57% of staff rejected the offer. The financial sector union had recommended its members vote no to the offer, saying it failed to deal with cost of living pressures and fell below industry standards. Surely we can get algorithms doing their job. Headline inflation is currently running at an annual pace of 6%, down from a peak of 7.8% in December. Yeah, and isn't this the RBA's job to deal with? Oh, well. The RBA is forecasting inflation to fall slowly over the next few years to hit 3% in mid-2025. We need to boost productivity. Earlier this month, RBA Governor Philip Lowe and his soon-to-be replacement Deputy Governor Michelle Bullock were asked about the state of the RBA's ongoing pay negotiations with staff during a parliamentary hearing in Canberra. Dr. Lowe said they're up to their 8th round, and he'd hoped it would be settled soon. 8th round of negotiations. We're now at a point where the bargaining has come to an end, he told MPs. We believe that the offer that we're making to our staff is fair and reasonable. Our hope is that it will be passed, and that would allow us to pay the 4% pay rise in early September. Oh, let me know in the chats, guys. How's your pay going? Are you getting these guaranteed pay rises every year? Maybe that's just the solution. Australia's, hey, it's a nanny state. You might as well go work for the nanny, hey? He said the RBA had reached a point where the financial sector union had indicated that it wouldn't support the proposal, so RBA management were keen to put the agreement to a vote to see what happened. We want people to get pay rises, and we want our staff to get pay rises as soon as possible. So rather than have the process continue to be drawn out, we think it's better to have a vote of our staff and see what they think, he said. I mean, surely there are a lot of people in the financial sector that are looking for work. Aren't all the banks shutting down branches? Couldn't you take people from that sector to replace the workers here that aren't happy with a 10% pay rise? Or maybe you could outsource the role of the RBA just to some of the other banks. Surely it couldn't be that hard. How couldn't you get these reports written by maybe the Bank of Reserve Bank in America or the Bank in Britain or one of the other countries? Try outsourcing it. What do you reckon? I mean, the reason I'm laughing at this is because so many average normal Australians are not going to get a pay rise. They're not going to see 10% in the next 4 years. So many businesses are having their profits chipped away at just ongoing costs. And here you have an institution that can literally print money from thin air. It's pretty much, the factor of job security needs to be taken into account too. Earlier in the conversation, Dr. Lowe had said productivity growth was zero in Australia's economy in trend terms, and we would run into problems over the next few years if unit labour costs grew consistently at 4% a year without productivity growth picking up. The best way to avoid that is not through lower nominal wages growth, but through faster productivity, he told MPs. Yeah, I mean, that's really nice to say, but how are you going to get faster productivity? You can't just magic it out of nowhere, can you? Honestly, I would say our productivity growth is going to get worse because you've got a whole generation and a lot of people that just don't give a shit anymore. How many people, honestly, do you think are going down this whole quiet quitting movement because they've just given up on getting home and they're going to stuff it, stepping back? I mean, I kind of think it's a bit sad that you're reaching that point, that it's that hopeless, but that's not a sign of growing productivity. That's not going to encourage people. You want to actually work for something that is achievable, not just the joy of paying more taxes to the government. If we don't have faster productivity, we have to confront the reality that wages will have to grow at a slower pace, and so will profits, and so will national income, he said. Jason Hall, the FSU's National Assistant Secretary, on Thursday said RBA staff had sent a clear message to management by rejecting their pay offer. We hope the RBA now understands that it must deal with the expectations of its workforce and substantially increase this pay offer, he said. Well, I mean, shouldn't their pay be inversely related to inflation? So if inflation is going high and they haven't managed it properly, they should all get penalised? Or at least the senior people in the RBA? What do you reckon? Perhaps the fact that they crashed the cash rate to an insane level might have had a slight impact on the inflation rate. It's not entirely the Reserve Bank's fault, don't get me wrong, but they had a role to play. We welcome comments by the RBA in the wake of this vote that it is willing to return to negotiating tables. So there we go, everyone. So let's have a chat about this one, eh? Yeah, well, I mean, I don't blame them. It's not going to cover inflation. It's not like the RBA has anything to do with that, is it? But there you go, guys. I mean, what do you think? Everyone is looking out for themselves. So these people, these employees, will be looking out for themselves, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them. That's how people vote. It's all short term, and you have to feather your own nest. That's what people have to do, because you got to look out for yourself. You got to look out for your family, and that's what the workers here are doing. I just think it shows you not just the Reserve Bank, but also the public sector, how removed they are from the day-to-day reality of a lot of people. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Would you take the 10%? Are you getting it? What about in your business? As always, check out HighasBim or Highas Does for other videos I create. And if you're a fan and want to support us, you can on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call me if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.